May 1st is a day set aside to celebrate workers across the globe. It is known as the International Workers' Day. On this day, workers come out en masse to call for better working conditions from their government. For labor rights campaigners, this day is particularly important as issues such as rights violation, poor working conditions, and increase in minimum wage for workers take center stage. It's a day dedicated to celebrate workers across the globe. In Nigeria, to mark this day, the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress held a joint rally at the stadium in Agege, Lagos State.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Even the heavy rainfall that threatened to dampen the day didn't stop members of both unions from converging at the stadium.
Our statutory cooperation.
To begin the celebration, they marched round the stadium, only stopping to salute the governor of Lagos State, Akinwumi Ambode, who was present at the event. After the march pass, they got down to the business of the day. They demanded better work conditions and urged the government to reduce job losses in the state. Another issue the unions called for to be addressed is a review of salaries of workers in Lagos State.
Employment of more teachers. There is no overemphasizing the importance of sufficiency and adequacy of teachers in our school system. The building does not make a school, neither does the library, and the laboratory, nor the furniture. We are appealing to you to have a change of heart on this issue. As the removal of these buses will add more to the current hardship of common people of Lagos, whose means of livelihood rested on these buses. The artisans, such as motor mechanics, auto electricians, drivers and conductors, who because of joblessness find themselves on this line to make a living, will face another problem of job losses.
It's no longer news that in the face of current economic realities, the minimum wage can no longer take our members home. Although federal government has set up a committee, including Labour Center, to review the minimum wage, we urge you, Your Excellency, as the real president that Lagos says to look into the minimum wage too and do the obvious needful. Especially when you consider the relative higher cost of living in Lagos. We are indeed proposing 56,000 as minimum wage to Your Excellency for conditions in Lagos State.
In response to their demands, Governor Ambode said the state government will ensure no jobs are lost and workers are well taken care of.
We've employed over 1,000 teachers, but as we proceed also before the year runs out, we'll employ more teachers. On the side that the chairman spoke about yellow buses, yes, if Lagos is to be globally competitive, we need to change the outlook of the way the city runs. What is of paramount interest to this government is to make sure that every Lagosian has a comfortable means of moving from one point to the other. But I promise you, there will be no job losses. The governor is not interested in driving all the new buses. It is these bus drivers, the technicians, the mechanics that will also still be employed and trained to use these new buses. Instead, we are going to employ more people for the greater number of the buses and to make the city more beautiful and more comfortable to all our workers.
The Lagos state government may have promised to review the welfare of workers in the state, even though no timeline was given on how soon the changes will be made. One thing is certain, Nigerian workers will not stop pushing for better work conditions until their demands are met by the government. Meanwhile, it was a different tale in Abuja, the nation's capital, as the May Day celebrations just ended before they even began. Workers had gathered to celebrate the National Workers' Day when they barred the Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, from delivering a speech at the rally. Ngige had mounted the podium at the event to present a speech on behalf of President Muhammad Buhari to the workers when they began attacking him verbally. For hours, they refused to let the minister speak to them. They also accused him of being insensitive to the plight of workers in Nigeria.
One of the things that we expected to come out of the palliative committee was a technical committee that will prepare the preliminaries for setting up a tripartite committee to negotiate a new minimum wage. Comrades, you will recall that NLC and our counterpart TUC had submitted a written demand since last year, immediately before the May Day, to demand for the review of the 18,000 minimum wage, even before the fuel price increase, which had triggered huge increases in cost of transportation and in the attainment of spiral increase in the cost of most consumer items and services across the value chain. The technical committee has recently submitted a report to government, and we call on government, without any further delay, to constitute all structures that are needed to facilitate negotiation and completion of the demand for a new minimum wage, because Nigerians and workers are running out of patience, as demonstrated here today.
Government has been dilly-dallying on this. Not until these issues are more practically addressed, the tripartite committee is put in place. Obviously, what we call the beginning of the end is coming.
We all came out here expecting an announcement concerning minimum wage. You are aware that Nigerians are suffering. Workers especially are suffering, whose salaries are stagnant. For more than 5 years, we've been on one minimum wage. Somebody once told us somewhere that the minimum wage they are paying, which is 18,000 naira, is just enough to take you from your house to the corruption center. Today is not even enough to take you to corruption center. So what are we here for? What are we here to say? What are you coming to tell us now if you are not talking about minimum wage? How long does it take to form a committee to give us new minimum wage, which you know is not enough for us? That is why we are agitating.
Let me tell you, sir, the only power as a comrade you have as a comrade is Congress. There's power in the Congress. We have nothing like a tool to fight the government. It's the power in the Congress, and our voices must be heard. They've been sitting round table since how many years? Okay, imagine how can a government that claims that they are sensitive to the plight of the people sit for FECBT on Wednesday when they know that on Friday there's no work, and we have not collected salary up to this moment. Most of us are living on borrowed money, and you collect loan from bank, and bank they put it on 25 that they must pay you salary. Once it passes 25, there will be some interest added to it. Come from that angle. Now I'm owing the bank. The bank has doubled my payment. There's no money for me. Even if I collect salary, I don't have money to eat. So we are not taking laws into our hand. The only thing we can do is to agitate and for them to hear our voice.
Well, I wouldn't know about April salary, but I know that the federal government have been paying their payments as and when due.